Commander Sarah Chun stared at the display screen in front of her. The numbers didn't lie, but she wished they did. Red dots filled the star map like a swarm of angry insects. Each dot represented 1,000 Rex warships. There were too many to count. How long until they reach Mars? She asked. Lieutenant Park checked his console. 72 hours, ma'am. Maybe less if they don't stop to refuel. Sarah nodded slowly. Mars Defense Station had been her home for 3 years. She knew every corridor, every weapon system, every weak point in its armor. Now she would watch it fall, just like all the outer colonies had fallen in the past 2 weeks. The Rex didn't negotiate. They didn't make threats. They simply came like a tide of metal and flesh, overwhelming everything in their path. Intelligence reports said they numbered in the trillions. Humanity had millions of soldiers, thousands of ships. The math was simple and brutal. Ma'am, Admiral Petrov is calling from Earth, Park said. Sarah straightened her uniform and accepted the call. The Admiral's face appeared on screen, looking older than she remembered. The past 2 weeks had aged everyone. Commander Chun, Petrov said. His voice was tired. We're evacuating Mars Station. You have 36 hours to pull back all personnel and equipment. Sir, if we abandon Mars, Earth will be exposed. Earth is already exposed. We can't defend a position we can't hold. Petrov leaned forward. There's a meeting tomorrow at Earth Command. All senior officers. We're considering our options. Sarah knew what that meant. Surrender or death. Those were the only options when facing an enemy with 10,000 ships for every one of yours. I'll be there, sir, she said. The call ended. Sarah looked out the observation window at Mars, hanging in the black void below. Humanity had worked so hard to build colonies on these distant worlds. Now they were giving them all away. The next day, Sarah sat in a conference room deep beneath Earth Command. 40 officers filled the seats around the long table. The mood was dark. Everyone had seen the casualty reports. Everyone knew friends who had died in the outer colonies. Admiral Petrov stood at the head of the table. Let's be clear about our situation. The Rex outnumber us 10,000 to 1. They have unlimited resources. They don't need to eat or sleep like we do. Every battle we fight, we lose ships we can't replace. Every battle they fight, they just build more ships from the wreckage. General Okonkwo slammed his fist on the table. So what? We just give up? Hand them Earth and ask them to be gentle? I'm saying we need to be smart, Petrov replied. If we fight them head-on, we lose. Period. We need another way. Guerrilla warfare, Okonkwo said. Hit and run attacks. Make them bleed for every inch of space. They don't bleed, someone muttered. They're a hive mind. They don't feel pain or fear. Exactly my point, a new voice said. Everyone turned. A woman in civilian clothes stood at the back of the room. She was small, young, with sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Sarah recognized her from intelligence briefings. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a strategist from the think tanks. Who let you in here? Petrov demanded. You did, sir. I was invited to present an alternative strategy. Tanaka walked to the front of the room without waiting for permission. The Rex have never lost a war. Do you know why? No one answered. Because they always win the same way. Overwhelming numbers. They throw 10 ships at your 1 ship. They throw 100 soldiers at your 10 soldiers. It's worked for them for thousands of years. It's working now. Tanaka pulled up a holographic display. But there's a problem with that strategy. What problem? Sarah asked. It's working perfectly. It only works if you fight the way they expect you to fight. Tanaka zoomed in on the display, showing the structure of the Rex fleet. They're predictable. They've won so many times that they've forgotten how to adapt. They think numbers are everything. Numbers are everything, Okonkwo said. That's basic military doctrine. Quantity has a quality all its own. Tell that to the 300 Spartans at Thermopylae, Tanaka said. Tell that to the Vietnamese farmers who defeated the American superpower. Tell that to every guerrilla force that ever beat a superior enemy. She looked around the room. Human history is full of the weak defeating the strong. Not through numbers, but through strategy. Petrov crossed his arms. What exactly are you proposing, Doctor? I'm proposing we stop trying to match their strengths and start exploiting their weaknesses. Tanaka changed the display to show the Vrex command structure. They're a hive mind, yes, but it's not perfect. They have nodes, regional hubs that control millions of units. The nodes all report to a central overmind. It's efficient, but it's also vulnerable. Vulnerable how? Sarah asked, leaning forward. Cut off a node from the overmind, and millions of Vrex lose coordination. They can still fight, but they fight as individuals, not as a unified force. Their greatest strength becomes their greatest weakness. The room was quiet. Sarah could see the other officers thinking, calculating, hoping. You're talking about decapitation strikes, Petrov said. We've tried that. Their command ships are too well protected. I'm not talking about killing their leaders, Tanaka said. I'm talking about making their numbers irrelevant. We make them spread out to protect their supply lines. We force them to divide their forces. We hit them where they're weak and avoid them where they're strong. We turn this into a chess game, not a street brawl. And how do we do that? Okonkwo asked. His skepticism was clear. Tanaka smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had thought about this problem for a very long time. We run, she said. We abandon every position we can't defend. We make them chase us deeper into our territory. We stretch their supply lines until they snap. And then, when they're spread thin and frustrated and certain they've already won, we strike at their heart. That's insane, someone said. That's strategy, Tanaka corrected. The Vrex have numbers. We have strategy. The question is, which one wins? Sarah looked at the star map again. The red dots were still there, still advancing. But now, instead of seeing an unstoppable wave, she saw something else. She saw patterns. She saw weaknesses. She saw a game board. How long would we need to prepare? She asked. Tanaka met her eyes. 3 months. Maybe 4. We don't have 3 months, Petrov said. They'll be at Earth in 2 weeks. Then we buy ourselves time, Sarah said. She stood up, feeling something she hadn't felt in days. Hope. It was small and fragile, but it was there. We give them what they expect. We retreat. We make them think they're winning. And while they're celebrating, we get ready. Petrov looked at her for a long moment. Then he looked at Tanaka. Then he looked at the star map with its swarm of red dots. All right, he said finally. Let's play chess with the devil. God help us all. The meeting continued for 6 more hours. Plans were made. Resources were allocated. Orders were given. By the time Sarah left Earth Command, the sun was setting over the Pacific Ocean. She stood outside for a moment, breathing the evening air, watching the sky turn orange and purple. Somewhere up there, the Vrex were coming. They had the numbers. They had the ships. They had won 1,000 wars, but they had never fought humanity before. Sarah smiled grimly and went back inside. There was work to do. 3 months after the Battle of Earth, Sarah Chun sat in a conference room aboard the Galactic Confederation flagship. The room was huge, designed to accommodate dozens of different species. The ceiling stretched up 3 stories high. The walls glowed with a soft blue light that supposedly promoted calm discussion. Sarah felt anything but calm. Around the circular table sat representatives from 40 different alien species. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange that Sarah had trouble figuring out which end was the head. All of them were watching her with expressions she couldn't quite read. The Rex Overmind was there too, represented by a single warrior who stood perfectly still in one corner. Its eyes never left Sarah. She tried not to look at it too often. "Commander Chun," the council speaker said. The speaker was a tall, thin being with 4 arms and skin that shifted colors when it spoke. "The Confederation has reviewed Earth's application for membership. We have concerns." "What kind of concerns?" Sarah asked. "Your species is violent. Your history is filled with wars. You fought each other for thousands of years before you even reached the stars." The speaker's skin turned a dark red. "How can we trust you won't bring that violence to the Confederation?" Sarah had expected this question. Admiral Petrov had warned her it would come up. She stood up slowly, looking around the room at all the alien faces. "You're right," she said. "Humans are violent. We've fought terrible wars. We've done horrible things to each other. But we've also learned from those mistakes. We've learned that war should be the last option, not the first. We've learned that peace is worth fighting for." "Yet you defeated the Rex through violence," another council member said. This one looked like a floating jellyfish, its voice coming from somewhere Sarah couldn't see. "We defeated the Rex through strategy," Sarah corrected. "We disabled their fleet, not destroyed it. Most of their ships survived. Most of their warriors went home alive. If we'd wanted pure violence, we could have killed them all while they were helpless. We chose not to." The Rex warrior in the corner shifted slightly. It was the first time Sarah had seen it move. "The human speaks truth," the warrior said. Its voice was hollow, empty. "The Overmind acknowledges this. Humanity showed mercy. This is not a concept we understood before." The council members murmured among themselves. Sarah waited, heart pounding. Earth's future might be decided in the next few minutes. The speaker's skin shifted to a calm blue color. "Very well. The Confederation accepts Earth's application for membership. You will have the same rights and protections as any other member species. But you will also have the same responsibilities." Sarah felt relief wash over her. "What responsibilities?" "The Confederation is not just a political alliance. It's also a defensive pact. If any member is threatened, all members respond. Your tactical abilities would be valuable in future conflicts." "You want us to fight your wars for you?" Sarah asked carefully. "We want you to help protect the innocent," the speaker replied. "Is that not something humans value?" Sarah thought about it. She thought about Earth, safe now but still vulnerable. She thought about other species who might face invasion, other planets that might need defending. Humanity had the knowledge now, the tactics and strategies that could save lives. "We'll help," she said, "but only in defensive actions. We won't be your attack dogs." "That is acceptable," the speaker said. "Welcome to the Galactic Confederation, Commander Chun. Welcome to humanity." The meeting continued for several more hours, discussing trade agreements and technology sharing and 100 other details. By the time Sarah left the flagship, she was exhausted. Dr. Tanaka was waiting for her in the shuttle bay. The scientist had been invited to tour the Confederation's research facilities and had spent the day looking at alien technology. How did it go? Tanaka asked as they boarded the shuttle back to Earth. "We're in," Sarah said. "Full membership. They even want us to help train their defensive forces." "Train them in what?" "Strategy, tactics, all the things humans are apparently good at." Sarah leaned back in her seat. "They're scared, Yuki. Every species in the Confederation has been invaded at some point. Most of them just barely survived. They see us as the species that beat the unbeatable enemy. We didn't beat them alone. Tanaka said. We had help. Information from Confederation intelligence. Technology we reverse-engineered from captured wreck ships. We stood on the shoulders of everyone who came before us. I know. But we're the ones who put it all together in a way that worked. Sarah looked out the window at the stars. Do you think we did the right thing? Joining the Confederation? I think we did the only thing we could do. We can't protect ourselves alone. Not really. The galaxy is too big, too dangerous. We need allies. The shuttle began its descent toward Earth. Sarah watched her home planet grow larger in the window. From up here, it still looked peaceful and beautiful. Hard to believe that just 3 months ago, it had been hours away from destruction. Back on Earth, Sarah returned to a hero's welcome. News cameras followed her everywhere. People wanted interviews, wanted to hear about the battle, wanted to touch the woman who had saved humanity. Sarah hated all of it. She wasn't a hero. She was just a soldier who had followed orders and gotten lucky. Lieutenant Park found her one evening in a quiet bar near Earth Command. She was drinking alone, trying to avoid the attention. They're talking about giving you a medal, Park said, sliding into the booth across from her. The Medal of Terra, highest honor in the military. I don't want it, Sarah said. Give it to the pilots who died in the raids. Give it to the crews who placed those satellites while hiding from wreck sensors. They're the real heroes. They'll get medals too. But you deserve recognition for what you did. Sarah took a drink. I just followed Dr. Tanaka's plan. No, you believed in the plan when everyone else thought it was crazy. You convinced Admiral Petrov to try it. You led the fleet through impossible odds. That's leadership, ma'am. That's why people see you as a hero. Sarah didn't respond. She thought about all the decisions she'd made, all the risks she'd taken. Every choice could have gone wrong. Every gamble could have failed. They'd won through skill and luck in equal measure. Do you know what bothers me most? She said finally. The wrecks, they weren't evil. They weren't cruel. They were just following their nature, doing what they'd always done. And we nearly wiped them out for it. They were trying to wipe us out first, Park pointed out. I know, but it doesn't make me feel better. Sarah finished her drink. The Overmind said they would adapt, that they'd learn from this. I believe them. Next time someone fights the wrecks, it won't be so easy. Then it's good we're in the Confederation. Next time, we won't have to fight alone. Over the next year, humanity settled into its new role in galactic politics. Human advisors began training Confederation military forces in tactical thinking. Human engineers shared defensive technology. Human diplomats learned to navigate the complex relationships between dozens of alien species. Sarah herself became an instructor at the Confederation's military academy. She taught classes on asymmetric warfare, on fighting smarter instead of harder, on turning weaknesses into strengths. Her students came from every corner of the galaxy, all eager to learn the secrets of human strategy. One day, she was surprised to find a Rex warrior in her classroom. It sat in the back, motionless and silent, its eyes fixed on her. After class, the warrior approached her. Commander Chun, the Overmind requested I attend your lectures. We wish to understand how we were defeated. So you can avoid being defeated again? Sarah asked. So we can stop defeating others through force alone, the warrior replied. The Overmind has reflected on our encounter with humanity. We realized we had become inflexible, arrogant. We believed our numbers made us invincible. You showed us otherwise. Sarah studied the alien carefully. What do you want from me? To learn, to adapt, to become better than we were. The warrior's voice held something Sarah hadn't heard before. Not quite emotion, but something close to it. You changed us, Commander Chun. You changed how we see the universe. That is worth more than any military victory. Sarah felt a strange sense of connection with this former enemy. "All right, you can join my class, but you'll have to work hard. Strategy doesn't come easy. Nothing worthwhile ever does," the warrior said. Years passed. Humanity grew into its role as a member of the Galactic Confederation. Human cities sprouted on a dozen different worlds. Human ships explored the furthest reaches of known space. Human culture spread throughout the galaxy, influencing art and music and literature on countless planets. But humanity never forgot the lesson of the Rex invasion. Never rely on strength alone. Never assume you can't lose. Always be ready to adapt, to change, to think of new solutions to old problems. Sarah Chun eventually retired from active service. She wrote a book about the war, not glorifying violence, but explaining the importance of strategic thinking and creative problem-solving. The book became required reading at military academies across the Confederation. She lived long enough to see humanity become respected, not feared, throughout the galaxy. She lived long enough to see former enemies become friends. She lived long enough to see her young ensign, the one with the photo of his family, become an admiral himself. On her last day, sitting in a hospital bed on Earth with the sunset painting the sky orange and purple outside her window, Sarah thought about everything that had happened. The fear, the desperate planning, the impossible odds, the unlikely victory. Dr. Tanaka visited her that evening. The scientist was old now too, her hair completely white, but her eyes were still sharp. "Do you remember what you said that day in the conference room?" Tanaka asked. "When everyone thought we couldn't win." Sarah smiled weakly. "I said a lot of things that day. You said the Vrex had numbers, but we had strategy. You believed it before anyone else did." "I believed in you," Sarah said. "I believed in humanity's ability to solve impossible problems." "And we did. Yes, we did." Sarah looked out at the sunset one last time. "The galaxy is better now, safer. The Confederation is stronger because we're part of it. I think we made a difference." "You made a difference," Tanaka said quietly. "You showed everyone that strength isn't everything. That sometimes the smallest force with the cleverest mind can change the course of history." Sarah closed her eyes. She was tired, so tired. But she was also content. Humanity had faced extinction and survived. Not through luck, not through superior weapons, but through the one thing humans had always been best at. Thinking their way out of trouble. The sun set over Earth. In the sky above, ships from a dozen different species moved through orbit, all part of the Confederation fleet. Human ships flew alongside Vrek ships, old enemies now working together to protect the innocent. Sarah Chun passed away peacefully that night, knowing that she'd helped save not just humanity, but the idea that intelligence and strategy mattered more than raw power. That flexibility and adaptation were stronger than any weapon. That sometimes the greatest victory came not from destroying your enemy, but from teaching them a better way. The galaxy remembered her. The galaxy remembered Earth. The galaxy remembered the day humanity proved that in the contest between numbers and strategy would win every time, and the galaxy was better for it.